always have money you can access independently, meaning you don't need somebody else to be there for you to access it and easily. I have gone to funerals where it's so sad. The spouse has died and the remaining spouse, usually unfortunately the women, they can't, there's money in their account, but they cannot access it. Yeah? All of us, we have relationships with our families, we have relationships with our partners, but there's some things that are going to happen in your life that you're going to have to be forced to deal with independently. So make sure you have money. Yeah, even if you're in a relationship, both of you should have money you can access independently, because things actually do happen. Emergencies are surprises themselves, but the fact that an emergency happens is not a surprise. Can we be clear? They will be, even if there's none right now. Can I guarantee you an emergency at some point in your life will happen? So I'm removing the surprise element. What you may be surprised is what the emergency is. So you've got to have money to be able to handle that. Life changes will happen is not a surprise. Yeah. And for women, and I'm very passionate about emphasizing this for women, because the belief system for women was not inculcated a long time ago, and there's cultural barriers sometimes. In many settings, the belief was not established, or conflict arises when you're independent. Yet, you will face situations that leave you needing to handle financial situations by yourself. For example, you will outlive men. That is what data shows that. Yeah? Then there are other life changes that happen. There are other responsibilities we all have. And for everybody, men and women, apart from handling emergencies and life changes, do you understand one day you'll want to do something that nobody else will understand? Nobody else will understand. I think my work in Centonomy was a calling. Yeah? And I know it was a calling because nobody could understand. You want to live what? You're leaving the bank to teach? Who's go? How are you going to make a living from teaching people out money? Yeah? So nobody was going to understand it. So even the little I had to put it towards registration of the company, and I'm glad I had that, because nobody was going to understand this until I started doing it. Because we were created to have relationships with each other, but we were still all created that there's something in us, there's purpose in us that you're meant to do. There's still something that you are uniquely meant to do here. There's a footprint you are meant to have, yeah? And sometimes it's great if you have the support of people to do it, but sometimes you may not. So even having that money that you can access independently allows you to test. Very unique to you. So money independence must be there. There are many things you'll do together with your family or joint, but there still must be some access to money independently. You understand? We have seen people get out of debt, buy homes in places they can never be. Some people rewiring their house, they sell this, they sell that, and now say, actually, we are financially free. We look like we're living a small life, but we've been able to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Just by reframing and accepting what is the reality. We don't like accepting the reality. My 9th point, debt. Debt is bondage. When you live a life that guarantees you will always be in debt. That is when debt is bondage. Debt can take you forward, it can take you backwards. It can progress you, it can regress you. Yeah? But have no mistake about it, debt is bondage if you're living a life that guarantees you are always in debt. And that is when you are always living above your means. You get paid 80,000 shillings, but your costs are 100,000 shillings. And there's no two ways about this. You have to cut your expenses. More income or cut your expenses. Okay? You have to cut your expenses. Because if you don't cut your expenses at this point, even if your salary increases, you will keep taking debt because you have developed the habit of taking debt, and everybody expects you to fund this lifestyle that is based on debt. So even though your salary is increased, and we've seen this in Centonomy, if you're in bondage to debt, it doesn't help. So you have to start paying down your debt. One at a time, pay it down. Use the shortest, the one that releases money back to you the fastest is the one that you actually pay down. The hard part, usually we align our lives so that to accommodate and understand what you cannot afford. And this becomes an identity thing. We don't want to do the hard things. We don't want to move house when we must move house. Yeah? Because where we live has become unaffordable. Why don't we want to do that? What other people think about us? Yeah. What other people think about that? First of all, we're delaying the inevitable. And I want you to know that most people are not thinking about you as much as you think.